Your scars show you, son, your love's only blood when you lose track of time. Delay the story, delay. Away we go and away. In time I said I can't hold you down again, my baby, hold you down again. I won't. Round again we rollin' and around again we go. I know you've grown wings from your pain.
Oh, wait a minute. What's going on? Ooh, trippy fade out. Why simply just fade out the volume when you can filter and reverb out too? Spice it up a little. That's what it's all about. Let's make it more interesting. Because we can. So, episode number 4. Talk like no one's listening. But a few people are listening. I see the numbers. I got like 34 downloads total so far. So, kind of blowing up. Yeah, getting them podcast checks. Anyways, once again, I got another mix breakdown, which is a good one, very good one. The song is called Uno Dos. The artist is Téo. Téo with the Spanish front and back question mark. Upside down, right side up. Téo. Who is Téo? That is the question. That song is part of the answer. So, good thing I got songs to work on, or songs that I've done lined up. So I got plenty of these episodes I can do. Talk about plenty of songs and many more to come. So let's dive into this one. First of all, Téo's a good friend of mine. Worked with him for a number of years now, since he was just starting out, venturing into music production, music artistry, instrumentation, all that. I've seen him go from nothing to something, and it's a big something. But the song, if you haven't heard it yet, that was the song. And Téo, just a background if you don't know anything about him, he is of Colombian descent. And although he's American, he vibes heavily with those Latin vibes. Brazilian in particular for this song. But if you check out the song, which is on all platforms, you can look it up, Uno Dos by Téo. And when you listen all the way through the whole song, it goes from what you heard in that beginning, and it evolves and morphs into a hip-hop song by the end, which is cool. You get to hear in that song a lot of what he's really all about. A smooth hybrid combo of traditional and modern styles. And he does it all. He sings, he raps, he plays instruments, produces, all that. Oh, and there's a Jaden Smith verse at the end. Which wraps it up nicely. They're very good friends, as you may know, or not. But let's get into the song. The song is written by Téo, but it's produced by a different guy who's also named Téo Home. And yeah, I remember hearing this song for the first time as a rough idea, and it was starting out with basically just that opening guitar riff, which Téo Home played. He did a good job to make it sound like it was something old, like it was sampled from somewhere, but that's him playing it. It's all original music in the song. And it was just, that guitar, a little bit of percussion. There was no main kick drum like you hear now. It was very open and very chill. It was just Téo, the artist, singing on top of Téo, the producer's guitar and some percussion. So it didn't have quite yet the body that it was going to have later. But just in that version, it had the feeling, it had that vibe, it had just the bossa nova feel, which not a lot of young American artists are trying to do songs like that, which makes this really cool. Just world music. I mean, there's so much out there that's really dope music besides just what people in America might be hearing on the regular. It doesn't have to always be trapped out or danced out, EDM'd out, or popped out, or whatever, but there's more. There's so much more. So much more that's been, so much more that will be. And then I worked on the song, recording and editing and helping them put it together as more and more pieces came, layers and whatnot. More guitars were recorded, more acoustic guitars, the bass, live electric bass, more background vocals. The drums eventually came. A lot of what you hear in those main drums and the kick drum and things like that, and extra percussion and that whole rhythm section of it, that came at pretty close to the very end. It was almost the last couple days of working on the song. It had changed a lot, and it was great. The whole song really got tied together and wrapped up nicely, and all of a sudden it was pretty clear. The vision of the song, the direction of the song really took shape pretty quick. And then everyone realized how dope it was. I mean, we already knew before, but now I realized that the song had reached a whole nother level with the final pieces of the production. So, yeah, let's see. Mix-wise, again, a lot of these songs that I end up mixing, it seems like in the past year or two, it's a lot of stuff that I usually have a hand in the recording process also. So these are songs that I've lived with for a long time. By the time I even get to the mix to start, I've already heard the song a million times. Which, for me, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't make it, like, some people might have a problem that they might be too close to the song to have the right perspective to step back and then just do a mix and find a new perspective on it. A lot of producers or whatnot, they might not want to do the mix. They want somebody else to do it. Someone outside is hearing the song for the first time. But everyone is different. For me, I can do either or, and it depends on the song, it depends on the artist. And for a song like this, I really like that I did work on it in the recording process. Maybe I like that more so than not, because when I start thinking about the mix process and I go into that mode in my brain, I'm trying to interpret what I feel is the real essence of the song and the artist and what they're about, and make sure that every decision I make in the mix, in the final outcome of the sound, is in line with who they are, what they're all about, and what the song's personality and character is all about. So it helps for me to know the song intimately and know the person, the artist, very well, and to have seen them, numerous times in person and talk to them and be able to look from their perspective at their own song and just incorporate that perspective into what I'm doing. Because I feel like it's very important that I want to make sure the artist and producer is getting what they want, is that they are hearing the song the way they are hearing it in their head, coming out of the speakers. And you can still arrive at that result without knowing them and not knowing the song, of course, previously. It just might take a little longer, a little bit more back and forth communication, sending them a version, getting notes back, and back and forth until you get to the final version. But I've noticed in these cases, for me, I'm able to get to that final version a lot faster. Or I can do a lot more of the mix, take it a lot further before I even send them the first version. And in most cases, I'm pretty close. Most times people are pretty happy with that first version, and it's just a few small tweaks after that. And I don't know, for me it's more rewarding in that way. I care. It makes me care about the song, which means I'm gonna do more. Well, I'm gonna hear more. I'm gonna try more. I'm gonna think more. I'm gonna just not necessarily that I'm trying, but that more ideas come to me about what I should or could do to just get a better mix. And not to say that if I'm mixing a song that for somebody that I don't know, I'm just doing it remotely, they're sending me files, I never met them, I'm not going to do less of a job, but I have just less information to go off of as far as perspective. Now that's fine if I'm doing a song that's maybe like a pop song or just a hip hop song or something that's a pretty standard genre type of a song. Because the perspective I use is that genre. Like a pop song. Okay, this needs to sound like something on Kiss FM. Okay, well, I don't need to know much about that artist or the producer or the songwriter. They want to sound like this song is on the radio. Okay, there you go. That's the perspective. Make it sound like that. But in a song like this, I'm trying to make the song sound like the person behind it, the people behind it. Which you can only know that if you know the people behind it. So, moving on. Full disclosure, I made a few edits. It's morning time. As usual, most of these have been in the morning. And I'm just not functioning yet. So I try to talk. I try to say things. There's thoughts in my head. And then when I speak, it just comes out as, it's, stuff like that. And let me just, whatever, I'll cut that shit out. No one wants to hear that. Sound like I'm having a stroke or something. All right, I try to have some coffee, try to do some yoga stretches, but yeah, I'm just not a morning person. On to the actual mix. So I wanted to give this song the feel that you're hearing this off of a vinyl 12-inch, and this is just some song you never heard from way back in the day, a bossa nova song. So I wanted to keep everything not really bright, not a lot of high end boosted, and have it feel very warm with that analog flavor, which is all being achieved in a laptop with ones and zeros. So it's all a lie. It's all a lie. But it doesn't matter. It's all about what you hear in the end. So, yeah, like I said, I want to make sure everything, of course, sounds clear, has clarity, and you can hear what's going on. Everything has separation and space and all that good stuff. But, yeah, I think just even Téo's voice, his vocal, the microphone I used to record his vocals was a microphone that I knew was for sure going to have a darker sound to it. and I like it. I mean, I like it on his voice. I hope you do too. I think it just matches. It makes him sound like he is an artist from back in the day that recorded this song onto tape, got pressed on the vinyl, whatnot, what have you, and now you're hearing it. And a lot of the other production you hear, the percussion, the kicks, I mean, obviously the trap drums at the end, even with all that stuff, I wanted to keep all of that within the same world of this not bright but warm analog vibe. And the biggest thing was for that first part of the song, before we get into the rap, I wanted to make sure his vocal was particularly present, but very intimate. Because once the kick drum comes in at the beginning, it's a pretty heavy kick, so it's very like, it's a straight hip hop style kick, which really beefs up the song once it comes in. And then when you hear Téo's vocal and the way he's singing it, he's singing in a very quiet, relaxed way. And that might not necessarily cut through in a mix that has a lot going on. So I had to make sure that it still felt vocally quiet, and not necessarily quiet, but just intimate and relaxed the way he sang it. But to make that be able to sit on top of all those drums and guitar and bass, and to not get lost, not get washed out. So that was an interesting challenge. But I did a couple of things to work on that. When I do the vocal, the lead vocal of any mix, what I do now is I try not to do a lot of compression directly onto the vocal. I like to just start by leveling everything out throughout the whole lead vocal, just manually automating it to get it to sound sirens. Or did I say silence? I want to level out the vocal first manually, just with volume automation, to get it to be leveled out throughout the whole song and sound at the volume it needs to be. And then I will start from there. And I will do some light compression. In a couple of stages, I'll do 2 or 3 different compressors, all just taking off just a tiny bit each, all at different attack and release speeds and different models. I'll do some analog emulation compressors and some straight digital clean compressors, and I just combine them. And EQ and de-essing, stuff like that. Then I'll do what I did in this case was do a parallel compressed track, which is heavily compressed. Oh, Hira's awake. She's calling me. Our Savior has arisen. And I just got started. What to do? All right. Technology. Time travel. One day ahead. Cut. So, yesterday, I woke up early to start the episode. But so did my daughter. And then this morning, I woke up early again to do this. And then she woke up even earlier. So now, midday, here we go. A little bit more awake. Picking up where I left off. I didn't fully listen to everything that I did before, so I might repeat. Hopefully not. I want to make sure I get through everything on this song. It's a dope song, and I want to pay it justice to give it a proper breakdown. So what I just listened to at the very end, I was talking about what I was doing on the vocal. I'm talking way faster than I was yesterday. Yeah, sun's out, daytime, I'm awake, had coffee. So I was talking about what I was doing on the vocal track for Teo's lead, manually automating it volume-wise first to get it all leveled out. And then I start with compression lightly, and then I do a duplicate track, which is compressed heavily, and that's blended in along with it. And what that does is it just gives it a little more presence and fullness to cut through the mix of all the music without his dynamics being taken away. Dynamics being the loudness and the quietness. The ratio of loud signal to quiet signal. So when that gets smushed too much and overcompressed, then it sounds unnatural. But a little bit of compression is necessary to help any kind of audio signal sit in the mixing and cut through a bit more. So parallel compression is a nice compromise. Not a compromise. It's a nice technique to be able to get the best of both worlds. And mostly it's a little bit more dry on his vocal to keep the intimacy. You know, it needs to feel like he's serenading a girl. He's singing right next to her. So he's not screaming. He's not trying to blast his vocals out. He's just trying to be right there in front of you. So that's what I tried to make it feel like in the record. And then there's background sections. You'll hear him. He's doing some stacks of some oohs and ahs and things like that, where that's very ambient, lots of reverb and real swimmy, as they say. Excuse me. Then it moves on to his rap section, where that gets a little bit more aggressive in both with the music and with his vocals. So that I in that section, I can push a little bit more with compression. Generally, for rap versus, it's a lot less delicate. I feel like it's a lot less delicate of an audio source and just what you're hearing. It really just needs to be up in your face the whole time. Rap being more about a rhythmic thing. The dynamic is not as crucial. It's okay if it all stays kind of on one line of volume in a way. And then generally, if someone's rapping, generally they're rapping over a beat that you rap to. So that means it's going to be a heavy beat. There's going to be, not always, but there's probably going to be some drums that are banging. So and maybe 808s or just anything else like that. So it needs to be able to stand out even more so. And again, on the dry side, rapping there's a time and place for it to be reverbed out and wet, but generally not. That's going to be another thing to help it sit right in front on top of that beat. But sometimes it can be wet. Then it goes from Téo's rap to Jaden's rap, where I continue on the same thing with the lead vocal for him as well. Keep it all up front. And then what you hear under Jaden is his ad-lib tracks, which are super reverbed out, which is become a signature for him. You'll hear that a lot, where it's a really cool thing. I feel like I was hearing him do that before I was hearing other guys do it. Maybe the rest of the world didn't hear it because the songs might not have been released, but at least from the time I started hearing him do that in the studio as a signature type of ad-lib style, that's been a few years now. But I think it really works well because you just have the contrast of two completely different spaces. One is just the dry rap that's right up front, and then something that's far, far, way, way in the back, where he's doing it in a different voice. He's usually, in this case, he's shouting out ad libs, and they just have just as much reverb as you can put on them, and they're in the back. So it's almost they're just two worlds layered on top of each other. One is the real physical world, and one is like this ethereal spirit world where that other vocal lies and lives. You know, it allows you to hear them both. They both are able to be perceived by your brain, that you can hear them both and get that separation. And that they just can be happening simultaneously, and you're hearing them both. I think maybe that's about it for vocals. Music wise, maybe I went over again, I don't know. There's that main guitar part you hear in the very beginning, which is the main guitar part that goes through it all. Then there was additional overdubs of more guitar, some lead pieces, some little riffs here and there throughout, and live bass played through it. And it was pretty standard what I did for all the guitar stuff. Just EQ, compress, touch of reverb, nothing fancy going on there. Bass, that's pretty standard too. Just, make it sound like a bass. When it gets to that rap section, then the drums switch up, and then you're hearing more of a trap style drum. No 808s though. The bass guitarist keeps going through that. So that was I was able to make that kick a little bit beefier because of that. Because what is usually going on when you have a typical trap combination of drums, where you have that 808 kick and snare, and then you have the 808 sub bass. The 808, the main kick, that's like the sharp, punchy kick, and the sub bass, long note 808. Those it's like, I don't know, the 808 drum set, as overused as it is, the reason why it all works. I mean, okay, let me just finish this thought. The reason why it all works out so well, and it's so is like such a popular sound, and why it's so appealing, is that first of all you have the sub bass. That's just the 808 sub bass. That's just, I don't know. It's just, that's the sound of bass that just feels good. It just it's such a pure bass tone that you can feel, and especially when you're on loudspeakers in the club, you got a loud car system, or you're at a concert venue or whatever. Just when you feel that, that's just, you feel it through your whole body. And what it sounds like when you're hearing it, like it physically feels like it's just filling up the whole room. It's taking up all this space in the spectrum of the sound, as far as when you're playing it, what your speakers can put out. It's 808, that sub just fills up almost the whole track. But then when you have that sharp kick and that sharp snare and a very sharp hi-hat, those things are all very sharp, kind of pointy sounds that don't take up a lot of space. So they give you the full package of what you need for the rhythm, and they just fit together. I could probably, in another episode, go deeper into this. But back to this song, because there's no 808 sub bass, the kick, which is actually not even really a real 808 type of kick, it's a different thing. But because of that, I can, that was more beefy and more punchy, because I don't have to compete with the sub bass. It's just the bass guitar in this song it's not super, super heavy on that sub low end. It's a little bit more smooth to match the earlier part of the song when you had this bossa nova style guitar. But yeah, main thing was when it does cross over into that section, to just pick up the energy of the song. So to make sure that the end section, those drums are just pretty aggressive. What else is going on in this song? Excuse me. I guess the challenge overall was that this song is like two songs in one. So to go from each section, transitioning from section to section as the song progresses, and have it just all fit together. Have it be smooth, have it all flow, and have one part at the end still feel like it lives within the world of the first part of the song, and vice versa. And with the vocals too, just, all around. So I spent a lot of time on it. It wasn't easy. Went through a few versions. And let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's it. Not too many other secrets going on there. But let's see. I'm still working with Téo on some additional music. He's got an album he's working on. It's all sounding awesome. It's on its way to, I think, being a really dope debut album for him. That'll be coming later, of course, and maybe later on towards the end of this year, I'll touch back on it again as more things get released. In the meantime, just check him out. Let me see, what's his, for anybody that doesn't know, let me look up what his handle is right real quick. Come on, internet. Come on, internet. Okay, Twitter at official Mateo. Simple enough. At official Mateo. Mateo. I'm not going to put Jaden's thing. I'm sure you could find him if you want to. But yeah, excited. I'm excited for what Téo will be bringing to the table, offering up to the world of music. Because I think it'd be very unique. It's a very unique style, background, and everything that all just translates to music that is very, I feel like traditionally and aesthetically speaking, like musically it's very on point, but also artistically he just has a very unique perspective of just what he's trying to do, what he's trying to express, and all that. This is much easier when I do it in one sitting because I can have a consistent train of thought. So I just jumped back in here to just finish this up real quick and finish the breakdown. But I wanted to talk about more, but all I was focusing on was just continuing where I left off. And then that's what I did. And now I don't know what to talk about. Let's see. I got about 5 more minutes to talk. So, what will it be? What's with all the poke restaurants? Just everywhere you look, every new restaurant that pops up is poke. Which in itself, as a food dish, is cool. I just don't understand why it's everywhere all of a sudden. Who decided that this was going to be the new thing? I feel like the city put like some kind of regulation and it said, okay, we're only going to allow poke restaurants. Any new restaurants, any new business licenses that people want to get to open a restaurant, we got a quota. We got to open 500 poke restaurants in LA County. Maybe they're connected to like the fishing industry and they're like, we got all this farmed GMO fish we need to dump on the folks. We need to get rid of it. Poke. We'll serve them poke. Which is why I have not ever ate at any of these poke restaurants in LA, and I refuse to. I plan to sit back and just wait and watch them all fade away off into the sunset. Not to hate on the individual business owners that are just trying to make a living, but it's just ridiculous. Why? I just don't want, if like I'm just kind of somewhere stuck and I just need to eat something and that's the only thing nearby, or I'm with some other people and they're like, hey, we're going to get poke. I'm buying. Then I'll just be like, oh, fuck. All right. Let's do it. But I'm not going to make that choice. Yeah, I'm just, with all those restaurants trying to serve up fresh raw fish all over LA, I just don't trust that it's going to be a good source of fish. Fish is so weird because if it's farmed, it's like, it's nasty. But if it's wild, you run the risk of just high levels of mercury or radiation if it's coming from the Pacific. And the reason why I'm talking about this, I just realized, is it's kind of like music. It's kind of like music artists. When all of a sudden, every song you hear has a feature from this one guy or this one girl, and they just pop up, and you never heard them before, but now all of a sudden there's like 10 songs on the radio, all featuring this person. And none of them are good. It's kind of the same thing. It's like, oh, who just decided that this person was going to be the new it person? It could be, an artist that's featured on everything, or it could be a producer that's producing everything, songwriter that's writing everything. There's lots of dope people out there, but in the end, when you're talking about commercial music, everything that you hear, it's all being plotted and planned out by people, executives, corporate people in an office trying to master plan, I don't know, whatever it is that they're doing. But it's just being forced. It's being forced upon people. It's being forced for one reason or another. They have an agenda, whatever the case may be. It's politics. Somebody just might be connected to the right people, or somebody just has the right look, the right sound, the right marketability. They might just be making the exact type of song that is right at the core of what mainstream music and mainstream radio is trying to serve up to people. Because through mainstream music, radio, things like that, over the years, it's gone from a very wide band, wide selection, diverse styles of music, diverse styles of artists and all that. And over the years, it's got narrower, and narrower. Why is it so hard to say? To where it's down to like a McDonald's like combo menu. Do you want number 1? Do you want number 2? Do you want number 3? Maybe up to 10. Maybe you got 10 choices. These are your choices. Everything comes with fries and a soda. What? Oh, no, we have salads now. Salad from McDonald's? Oh, we have kale now. What? I'm not going to go to McDonald's and simultaneously want to eat kale. But I get it. I thought about this over the years. This is my theory, of course. Just my theory. But they're trying to, the whole point of radio, TV, everything is just advertising. It's trying to sell you something. Trying to put advertisements to get you to listen, to watch, to be that captive audience for advertisements. And the more diverse and the more selection you're giving people, the harder it is to basically be in control. Because there's so many choices, you don't know what's going to be the most popular thing. You don't know what people are going to really like. So if you just narrow it down to a few things, and people don't have much to choose from because there's 20 songs that keep playing over and over again. And then on every radio station, it's the same songs. And every radio station is owned by the same big umbrella corporation. That over time, because it happens slowly over time, gradually, people don't realize it. Or they do realize it now, but it's too late. It's already happening. And then when you have not a lot of choices. You just kind of accept that this is what I have. Or a lot of people will accept that this is the choice. So I'm not going to look for other stuff. Or it's easier to just to cater the public's tastes to what you're giving them. So when you boil it down to just a very, very narrow bandwidth of what songs can sound like, number one, it makes it easier to produce that music and easier to sell that music. When you make everything a very similar, repeatable, generic, mediocre product, and that's all you give people all the time, then they get used to that. Then you don't always have to look for who's the next big star, who's the next big talent out there, because you can just find a bunch of mediocre people that have the right look or something. Mediocre songwriters, mediocre producers, mediocre artists, and those people are easy to find. You can sign them, put them in the studio, record some songs, put it out, and people don't listen to it as if, oh, that's mediocre. Oh, this song sucks. It's just, they just passively accept it, and they just keep listening to that radio. And those stations keep making that advertising money. Those record labels keep making that money. So that's why I don't fuck with it. Thank God for the internet. But that's what you also see with rap music. If you keep rap music to basically the same thing, boil it down to one standardized, generic, mediocre product, then you can keep just signing new guys all the time. New guy. There's very few stars in the rap world. Just new guys all the time. And they're disposable. You can get a guy, just wait till a song pops off, sign it, see if he gets a couple more songs that just pop off, make that money, and then just kind of dump it onto the next. And when you don't have that many stars, you don't have that many people that are going to demand special treatment, demand more money, more attention, going to command power themselves. You just keep everybody small at a low level. And then you just can keep making your money, pushing that music, but your overhead, as it were, stays low because you don't got to spend a lot of money to produce rap music of what you hear today. It's like the cheapest music. It's just like 99-cent store plastic toys made in China. It's just the cheapest. It's cheaper than dirt. But you can keep selling it and keep selling it and keep selling it. Put it on the radio. Put it on YouTube. Make that advertising money. But like I said, things are changing. Thank God for the internet. People can just do it for themselves now. Which, good and the bad. More good people are out there that you can discover and you can listen to, but not everybody can do it. So there's just an ocean of shit. An ocean of shitty music. And then when you can stay afloat on that ocean and navigate your way, you find Hawaii. But then other people find Hawaii. And then eventually, too many people find Hawaii. And then Hawaii is Hawaii. Or any other island, tropical resort type of place in that ocean of shit. But you can make your own island. Moana. All right, I gotta go. Episode 4. Done. See ya.